Hi, this time I wanted to talk about why it's absolutely unnecessary to fudge rolls, to fudge dice rolls in tabletop role playing games. When it comes to the first fudger in tabletop RPGs, it was most certainly, in my opinion, Gary Gygax. If you take a look at the many adventures of Sir Robilar Robkuntz and other adventures with his children, you can tell that Gary Gygax, there were several times when he was fudging the dice. I have mentioned this before. This is a way of fudging, not exactly as we know it, but there was this time when he was playing with Rob Kuntz. Sir Robilar had gone solo. That's pretty suspicious. Robilar, in old school Dungeons and Dragons, he survived many adventures solo. Yeah, okay. Those of you that are old school, you know how difficult it is for a solo adventurer to survive in old school D&D. Robilar had entered this level underneath Castle Greyhawk, infested with whites. Those enemies are deadly. A lot of you dread the whites because in many of the editions of Dungeons and Dragons, I think in all of them, in fact, they steal levels of experience with their touch. So Robilar was having a very difficult time fighting those whites. He was about to die. He was fighting one-on-one with a single white. He was cornered. And then Gary Gygax's wife stormed into the room because they were playing late at night. They were making too much noise. She wanted to sleep. So she pretty much told them to stop playing. And Gary got very upset. So he told Rob, make a roll. He didn't tell him, if you roll this, this happens. No, he just told him, make a roll. And he made a roll, and Gary Gygax was like, okay, that result means that this was all a dream and your character never went down that level and he is alive and well. It's obvious that he rescued him because Robilar was one of the longer running characters. He wouldn't want, and taking into consideration that Rob Kuntz was pretty much Gary Gygax's adoptive son, he obviously didn't want to eliminate that character. So yes, you could say that perhaps, unless there is some other instance, that could have been the more blatant example of fudging the die. So what do I mean that it's absolutely unnecessary when it comes to dungeon masters, game masters in current times or in any time? It is unnecessary for them to fudge the dice because there should be roleplay. When you play a tabletop role-playing game, you should have roleplay in your session. If you have roleplay, that is going to provide you with all of the tools necessary to handle any sort of situation. There are two reasons as to why people fudge the dice or the die rolls. One, they want the player characters to succeed. They are basically handing them out the triumph. That's pretty lame in my opinion. You're not telling a story, you are playing a tabletop role-playing game. Everything proceeds according to the interactions and the results of those interactions. The other reason is that they find the results too nonsensical. Again, you're not telling a story, you're not writing things, you're not a frustrated author or writer, you're not a frustrated screen director. You are a game master or dungeon master, you are presenting a situation, the player characters interact with that situation and something happens. So if you put roleplay at the front, as it should be put, you should give priority to roleplay, and that way the actions of the player characters will be given priority as well. If the player characters do something that merit an automatic success, give it to them. You don't even need to roll. You would only roll the die or the dice when the outcome is uncertain. If there is something uncertain, roll the dice, make that roll. It is uncertain, you don't know what is going to happen. and let the outcome be dictated by the roll, by the result. But if you, as a dungeon master, game master, referee, blah blah blah, think that the roleplay is an automatic success or even an automatic failure, apply it. If you think that the actions undertaken by the player characters, they deserve some sort of huge modifier, a positive modifier or a negative modifier, apply it to the roll, and that's it. Perfect. So there is no reason whatsoever to fudge the dice, because roleplay should be given a priority. There are so many people that are just playing a game, but they are not role-playing. If you are not role-playing, you are not playing a tabletop role-playing game. Even worse, there are those that are having a mother may I conversation. Or they are playing this weird version of a board game with a tabletop role-playing game. Completely nonsensical. So I would love to know what you think about this. Do you fudge the dice too much? Do you avoid that altogether? I've only fudged dice once when I first started to play tabletop role-playing games, because I have learned that, that if you should fudge the dice if something goes against the character. Typical Gygaxian pathology. I think it was in the Dragon Quest game, they also explicitly tell you to fudge the dice. Horrible. And that's a tradition that is not exactly a tradition, I would say a pathology that has been ingrained into the way that we play tabletop RPGs. And in my opinion, it should be removed, because you should be role-playing. As long as you role-play, there is no need to fudge the dice. As always, thank you for watching my videos, thank you for your likes and your comments, and thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.